If you're a photographer, there are two things that are going to be constant for you: noise and sharpening. First off, all photos need sharpening out of the camera. So if you're dealing with a raw photo, you need sharpening. If you're dealing with JPEGs produced from your camera, well, it's applying sharpening inside. So basically, all photos need sharpening one way or the other. The other concern you have is noise, and that happens when you start getting to higher ISO. So today we're going to take a look at ON1 NoNoise AI 2023. Hi, my name is William Beem. I'm a photographer just like you. And why don't we go ahead and start taking a look. First, I'm going to look at some noisy photographs. Then I'm going to look at some that could use a bit more sharpening. There are some opportunities where you're going to apply both noise reduction and sharpening. So we'll look at NoNoise AI 2023, which includes the NoNoise noise reduction and also the Tack Sharp sharpening. And then there's an option for both of them in there. So I'm going to start off with this photo, and please don't cringe because this is me from 2001, 2002, something like that, or maybe 2000, but that's okay. We're going to take a look at this. And that is me in Amsterdam, Hard Rock, with my favorite waitress in the entire world. I only saw her the one trip there, but man, she was wonderful. Her name is Lisa, as you can see. So this photograph is full of noise, and you can see how blurry some of this flare is on her. We're going to try and address both of that inside of the tool. So what I'm going to recommend is, after you've installed the software, go down to Plugin Extras, and then come down here to ON1 NoNoise AI 23. If you've worked with Lightroom for a long time, you may have gone over to Photo and Edit In, and I'm going to advise that you don't do that for one simple reason. When you do that, it creates a duplicate of your photograph, and then it edits that duplicate inside the software, and anything you save comes back. You may cancel out. If you use the plugin manager and these plugin extras, you can launch it, and then if you cancel out, you don't get all that litter back in your Lightroom folder and catalog. So let's go ahead and do this. Now, as I'm launching this, I want to bring up, I'm using it as a plugin, but it also does work as a standalone program, and it'll work in other software applications besides Lightroom Classic. It works in Photoshop, it works in Apple Photos, and a few other things. So here's what we get. By default, it's edit a copy with Lightroom settings. This is the default. It's also my preference because if I had done anything to this photograph inside of Lightroom, I don't want to lose that. And then you've got this option to ask every time. And you may uncheck that if you're always working with the same kind of files. Since I've got this as a JPEG, it came from a really crappy point and shoot camera in 2001 or 2002. So that's why. We click OK, and it will go ahead and launch ON1 NoNoise AI. And it's a small photograph, so I'm going to have to bring this up quite a bit. So I'm going to come over here to get this a little bit larger. By default, you see this little line over here that kind of shows you before and after. So when it moved all the way over, this on the viewer's left side is the default. On the right side is its preview of what it's going to look like. Down here at the bottom, you'll see this little split. So you can turn that off, and then you can click the preview button. So right now, that is with the preview off, and you can see the noise in here, and we'll zoom in a bit more, and then you can turn it on. So that's your preference as to how you want to take a look at this. There are three options over here under noise and sharpening. There is NoNoise AI, there is Tack Sharp AI, and then there's both. So I'm going to start off with a quick look at Tack Sharp. And the reason I want to do that is when I click on this, you're going to see that the noise really seems to get worse. You can particularly see it down here on her arm and her face. That's because it's sharpening the noise as well. So if you use that on a noisy photo, you're going to get sharp noise. So don't do that. I'm going to go back over here to no noise, and it'll process. And then you come over here and take a look at what our results are. And that noise is pretty much gone. Let me see if I can't zoom in a little bit further. So 400% on a small photo. And yeah, there's other problems with this photo, not the least of which is my red eyes. And I don't know what's going on with my chin here, but this is a long time ago. So you can see if I bring this over, look at all the noise back here. You can see it on my face, on her face, and also down here. That's what came out of this little small censored point and shoot camera in the early 2000s. And as I move this over, you can see it's really smoothed out. That noise is gone. And also, let me see if I can't bring this up. I want to take a look at what we have over here with her flare and her name tag. So I'm going to bring this over again. And you can see that it's kind of enhanced the detail. As you see right here, there's a slider for enhanced detail. By default, it seems to be right in the middle at 50%. And if we want to, we can bring that over a bit more. And depending on your photo, your results are going to vary a little bit. But I'm just looking at this and thinking that's done a really remarkable job of taking something that was blurry and making it kind of sharp there. And I haven't even gone into Tack Sharp yet. So let's say that instead of enhanced details, I want to sharpen and reduce noise. So you saw what happened if I just do Tack Sharp AI on a noisy photo. We don't want to do that on something with this much noise in most cases. There are exceptions, and it doesn't hurt to try it. But let's take a look at both. And it'll think about that for a moment, and then we get our result. So you can see how blurry it is where it says Lisa. And then we come over here, and we've got much more detail on this. Now you can see that it took the luminance noise reduction, and it dropped the enhanced detail, which is good because we're working on sharpening over here. The color noise reduction is also all the way over. And now you have choices where you can choose the Tack Sharp AI de-blur, and that's what it's really doing. So if we take this off, you can see how this goes back to being kind of blurry as it was. So there's technology inside of here that is eliminating the blur. This is the kind of stuff we used to see on television all the time where, it's like, can you clean that up? And we're talking about things that photographers would laugh at. It's like, you can't enhance a photo if the detail isn't there. Well, now we're living in the age of Star Trek and television, and we are seeing how it's been able to remove the blur and enhance things. So we could also add up some micro sharpening, and we'll just get just a little bit better look at this. So this is one photo. Like I said, this is one of the crappiest, grungiest photos I have. And let me back this off to fit. And for a little snapshot from a camera, that looks pretty usable to me. And like I said, we can bring this over here, and you can kind of see as I slide back and forth, just on my face and her face, you can kind of see how things have changed, and it's really smoothed everything out. You can see on the walls up here how it's smoothed it out. Okay, let's go cancel this, and we'll say okay. We're going to select a different photo, and as I come back, you can see that I didn't add anything in here. This one is a Lego set of all things, and you can see that this is ISO 6400, and NEF, that file extension, means it's a Nikon RAW file. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that up, and we're going to launch our software as far as ON1 NoNoise AI. And you can see right off the bat where it gives you this little thing, there's a lot of noise on this side, not so much on this side. But let's get closer. I'm going to bring this up about 250. And one of the things I like about Legos is there's always some creepy little Lego character inside the building. I'm going to move this over, and you can see there's just a ton of noise right in there. And again, this being an ISO 6400 shot, I expected noise. If you come over here and click on the Info tab, that will show you the information, and you can see ISO, the exposure settings, and so forth. So we'll go back over here, and this is our navigator view. So this little block is what we're looking at in the photograph. So by default, this is the kind of noise reduction that we're getting. And this is what we were dealing with before. So it's done a really good job, not only of reducing the noise, but also kind of de-blurring that a little bit. Again, I'm not going to hit the Tack Sharp AI photo because we know that's going to sharpen the noise. I am going to hit both, and it will apply that. And now we can take a look. She's even better off than she was before. I'm going to turn this off instead of sliding back and forth, and I'll say, this is our photo. This is the raw file, and this is the result we have. I haven't even tried to enhance any details. I haven't tried any more de-blurring or micro sharpening. Pretty much the default settings are magnificent as far as I'm concerned. So we can also move this around to other areas. And again, I will turn off the preview. You can see the noise on the curtain. You can see the noise on the characters down here. And we'll turn the preview on. And it's just really sharpened everything up. So we'll click this to fit. And for noise reduction, typically you want to zoom in and see what the noise is, but it's always good before you commit anything to back off. Sometimes you can do too much noise reduction and it doesn't really give you any benefit to the photograph. So I like to back off. I like to take a look at my before. So that's the preview off. And even here, I can see the noise on this. And when I click in, that noise gets taken away. And it's also been sharpened since I have it on both the NoNoise AI and the Tack Sharp AI. So that's at ISO 6400. Let's cancel this and get something with a lot more noise in it. All right, so you can tell from the box over here, it's kind of zoomed in where there's a bit of activity and color. And I want to show you by dragging this over. Look over here on this cabinet in the background. There is just a ton of noise. And as I pull this back over to show you afterwards, you can see that it's really cleaned that up. Now, with the exposure, it's hard to see the face over here on Captain Jack Sparrow, but we will go ahead and pull this over again, and it clears it up. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. So that's at 325 for zooming. So again, you see all the noise over here. As I move this line, it cleans that up, and you can see all the noise that was on his face. Not a great photo. It was like one of those, snap it and see if you can get what you get. But now let's go ahead and try working with both the NoNoise AI and the Tack Sharp AI. And you can see how it's brought over this setting over here. Down here is a little blue line that kind of goes over and adds its sharpening as well. So I'm going to back off a little bit so we can see a bit more. And there we are at 100. So we've got the noise. You can see the blurriness right over here on that throne, or that's his hat actually on top of the throne. And it's kind of sharpened things up a bit here. No one's going to call this an award-winning photograph, but if you're trying to do keepsakes, that's something that worked out well. And it just makes it a much more usable photograph, at least as far as the parts that we want to get. So obviously this needs some leveling and some other help. But the fact that this is a 12,800 ISO, there it is, and we have reduced the noise level that much is phenomenal to me. Now, not everything you need to do is going to be about reducing noise. So let me go ahead and cancel this. We'll choose some other photographs, and we'll just take a look at sharpening. Okay, so it's always defaulting to no noise, and there's not really a lot of noise here that you want to deal with. But let's click on Tack Sharp AI. And now look at the difference that we have. And I'm leaving this kind of in the center. You can see her eye over here and an eye over there. And it's really sharpened things up. Look at when I bring this over, these eyelashes right here. So this is before and this is after. So it's really doing quite a lot of sharpening right there. And we can do, more or less of the deblur if you want to, because you may not necessarily need to go to 100% every time, but also there's the micro sharpening, and I'm going to just kind of bring this up towards the middle mark over here. And I don't like that on her skin. I think that micro sharpening is bringing out a lot of texture and detail that I don't want. So you've got to choose your subject. Do you want to show more contrast and detail? That's where the micro sharpening is. Do you want to show less of it? You may want to just bring this down a bit and then see how it looks on her skin. So I think that I would start with my whole workflow. I would start by removing the noise, getting my sharpening in there, and then maybe going back and applying some portrait tools to smooth her skin out, enhance her eyes a bit more. But I think if we look at particularly that eyelash and the eyebrows, that just really gets me. Even looking at her lips as I bring this over, it's done a really remarkable job of sharpening that up. And this is a photograph that, if we go back out to fit, if you bring this over, that's the raw photograph. As I said, every photograph needs sharpening. And this is a very quick, easy way to do it with outstanding results. So let me go ahead and cancel this. We'll take a look at another one. You can see on his face over here, this is kind of soft, and same thing with her. Let's bring in the Tack Sharp AI. And you can see down here this blue line where it's thinking and processing. And then look at the detail that just came out in his shirt. I'll bring this over. You can see on his face that it's really kind of made some changes. You can see the detail coming out of his shirt, and same thing with her. And I think we're seeing some tonal changes as well too. So if you look at the color on the fabric, it's much darker in the original, and then as we sharpen, we're getting some more detail out of that. So we may want to change again some of that micro sharpening or some of the deblur. Now let's try this with both. Since this is an ISO 1600, I can see that there is a bit of noise up there. And now we've really changed everything. The noise is gone. I think the color on the fabric has come back, and we can see that there is just a tremendous difference between the sharpening and a bit of noise reduction as well. I mean, look at this edge of the zipper on her coat when it's sharpened and then before. So it's kind of dull, even like the bling on her belt. You know, that sharpening is kind of bringing out some of the luster of those little highlights. And if I bring this over, you can see the same thing on his shirt. You definitely see his face that needed some help as far as sharpening. Don't want to make that sound bad, like his face needed help, but that's not what I intended. But basically now, if we look at this photo, I would say that we've got a better starting place for any other enhancements that we want to do. So this photograph is in the rotunda of the United States Capitol. That's the statue of George Washington. And it's kind of a common photo to show him in the rotunda like that. So again, it starts off with no noise, and we've got some details that we've cleared up a little bit as it's reduced the noise. But if we come over here to Tack Sharp, you can see, look at the changes like on the head of the statue over here. And it is really enhancing the detail in there. I think also you're going to find out if you look in this area for this detail in the rotunda. So you can see how it was kind of blurry, and then as I bring this back over, there's more detail. If we click on both, look at the sharpness over here versus over there. And overall, it's just really brought out a lot of sharpness in this photo. So let's click on fit so we can see the entire thing. I think you can see up here at the top of the dome how it's changed some things. Oh, maybe if I don't click the wrong stuff. Look how much sharper that is compared to the before and after. So let me turn this off. And that is our before, and that is after. This is a very quick, easy to use tool, and basically the presets that they have on there work very, very well. It's very rare that I ever have to come over here and move these sliders around. Now, you can decide if you want these automatically on or automatically off for each of these settings for both Tack Sharp and no noise. So you can determine, is it auto on, auto off? So if you don't want to start off with noise reduction on, you can just toggle that switch. And I don't see that one showing up for Tack Sharp. I think that one only applies when you're on there because it would be the only thing that's there. And then if you want to do both, you have a choice for auto on or auto off. That is the tool. It's very simple and easy to use, and it works well with your existing software as a plugin. It also works as a standalone program if you decide that you want to work it that way. Now, if you're interested in this software and don't have it, a couple things to keep in mind. First, if you have ON1 Photo RAW, this plugin is built into that. So in other words, all the technology that you see here for no noise and Tack Sharp AI is in ON1 Photo RAW. This is a plugin that you use with other software in case you don't necessarily want everything that's in ON1 Photo RAW, or if you want to use it in some applications and maybe not in others. The plugins work very, very well, as you can see. If you decide that you're interested in ON1 Photo RAW or this plugin, No Noise AI 2023, or if you're interested in any of the other tools and software, I have a promotional code, a coupon code. It is just like my first initial last name, WBEEM20, WBEEM20. I will put that in the description box below. I'll try to show it up on screen here, and that will save you 20% off. Now, ON1 software does what other companies are doing. You can buy this as a standalone one-time purchase. You can buy this as part of a bundle of other programs, or you can also get their subscription for 1 year. The coupon code should work with whatever you purchase, so it'll still save you 20% off. And I am very happy with this software. I've been using ON1 for years, and I think they've really nailed it with the software that they're putting out these days. So it is very good software. The performance seems very good to me. I am using this on an Apple M1 iMac with 16 gigs of RAM, and that kind of gives you an idea what the performance looks like. So thank you very much. Again, my name is William Beem from williambeem.com. I do a photography blog, I do software reviews, and also some other hardware and technology reviews, as well as lessons on composition, lighting, and so forth. So please go ahead, check it out at williambeem.com. If you like this video, please go ahead, click the like button. That tells the YouTube overlords that I've done something right. They will share this with more people based upon your votes with the like button. And that really helps the channel grow. So I appreciate it if you click that like button. It really does make a big difference. And if you're looking to buy the software, as I said, I've got a coupon code. It's an affiliate link, which means I get a small commission, but also you save 20%. Thanks so much. I'll see you again in the next video.